got profit margins of around 70%. It doesn't require any product handling or shipping or inventory managing. And best of all, I only need to create each little digital asset once, and it sets up an ongoing royalty stream that will run for months and years. And so I've really quickly built up my tiny startup to now be generating thousands of US dollars of profit every single month. And it's still a really wide open opportunity that you could potentially get started doing now. It's still very low competition. It's not obvious. There's not a lot of people talking about it. My name's Sophie Howard. I live here in Wanaka, which you can see just down at the end of the lake there. And I live in the Southern Alps of New Zealand. And I'm actually currently training to do an off-road marathon somewhere in the hills behind me that way in the new year. So I'm spending quite a lot of my weekends slogging up hills and running around the mountain tops, which is giving me lots of time to be grateful for the business I've started. It gives me a lot of free time to stay fit and healthy, and also lots of time with my young family as well, who for some reason don't seem to want to join me on these runs. So anyway, it's been a really great lifestyle business, and it's meant that I'm not dependent on travel. It's meant I'm able to work from home, and it's very, very passive business model.
Hello everybody, it's Mark Ling here, and I've got with me a woman who has made tens of thousands of dollars per month, every month, like clockwork, and scaling upwards through Amazon Kindle. Not just Kindle, we're talking audiobooks, the physical books, printed on demand though. This is without stock and inventory. It's a very high profit margin method, and she's got a fantastic method for going about doing this. One that has been replicated by a lot of people, a lot of your students and so forth have had phenomenal results. So without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to Sophie Howard. Welcome along.
Thanks, Mark. Lovely to be here. It's very rare we get to sit in person, but because we're both in New Zealand, we get to sit side by side and have a real conversation, which is such a treat. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming out here. We're in New Zealand, but we don't live in the same city, so I appreciate you flying in for this. And what I want to know from you, like, first of all, before we get into the nitty gritty and we get all those tips grilled out of you for everybody, I want to know, how did you even come across this? Like, how did you come up with the idea, you know what, I'm going to be producing books that I don't even write and selling them on Amazon?
Well, I'm kind of kicking myself. I didn't think of it sooner because it's pretty easy when you know how. But I started off 10 years ago by selling physical products on Amazon. So I was on maternity leave, and my daughter, who's now 10, I've been basically selling on Amazon since she was born. And I started off with products and they went well, had some great runs. I had some super brands and did really well with them. But when COVID hit, I was about to go off traveling to a trade show and find some new products to sell in India. But the trip was canned because the borders were closing. Lockdown kicked in, and I suddenly had a lot of quality time with me and my computer screen, and no other meetings, no other trips, children in the house. I was like, oh, better think about a pivot here. And actually the products business sailed on through and it's been fine. It was all just, preparation for change. I thought there was a lot of uncertainty. But what I could see about the ebook side of things was that it was completely digital and weightless and no shipping or logistics. I could see that the profit margins would be really high. And I knew how to drive an Amazon business because I knew how people shopped on Amazon by searching in that search box for something they needed to buy. I'd had a little bit of experience because I'd written one book that I'd basically dictated, which was about how to sell products on Amazon, which I did for my Amazon students who I was teaching product stuff to at the time. So I'd done this little book, which was selling really well without me trying to sell it. But I also knew that people knew me through my Amazon product side. So I'd produced a book, I'd sold a lot of other stuff on Amazon, and I thought, well, how about I get serious about selling more books to more people on the Amazon platform? So I spent a few weeks in lockdown figuring out what this ebook game was all about, and I'm very glad I did. And it's been a really fun 2 or 3 years now since starting out in this whole new game. But it's very different from products. So you don't have that big upfront investment of choosing a product and ordering lots of it and shipping and logistics and storage. It's a very quick process to produce that first book, maybe $1,000 or so, a little bit more maybe, but very quick, very low capital. And the nice thing is that you only need to produce the book once, but then you can sell it again and again and again. And Amazon takes care of all those 3 different formats, the ebook, the paperback, and the audiobook.
Now, just to be clear on this, you don't produce the low quality or the low word count type books that I've seen other people put out there and say, look, you could sell these books for 99 cents. They're only 25 pages and blah, blah, blah. But that's not you. You're putting out books that are getting 4, 4.5 star and 5-star ratings. They're full length. They're exactly what someone expects of a book. And when it arrives in print, it is just like the books you see on the bookshelves. These are very good, well-written books.
Yeah.
This is like not doing it on the cheap when you say it's 1,000, it's just well optimized. It's a well thought out process. I think it's worth giving that distinction. This is not a shortcut to quality. This is a smart cut to quality, I guess.
That's a nice way of putting it, yeah. So no planners or journals is the main strategy. Sometimes there's a free workbook or something that's low content. But the game plan is really to produce something really high quality that the market wants. They do a search, they want to learn about something. So I stick with non-fiction because people have a problem, they want a solution. So it might be they want to learn more about a hobby or they've got an interest. It might be philosophy or history, or it might be a biography of somebody from history, Joan of Arc. Well, then it could be how to do calligraphy. It could be a hobby. It could be a self-help type topic. They're really popular. But of course, I don't know anything about calligraphy or training dogs or how to play guitar. So whatever those topics are, I do not need to be the subject matter expert. And best of all, I don't need to be an actual writer, which I'm not. So what we do is we outsource all the writing to a ghostwriter, which sounds quite a strange exercise. And you'd think that when you buy a book, you're buying the expertise of the name on the book. But actually, most books are ghostwritten. It's a bit of a funny thing to get your head around. But even actually, most of the top fiction books are ghostwritten. And there's a professional writer there doing the research, writing the words. And just like an artist, you'd never try and do the cover design yourself because you're not an artist. You shouldn't write the book because you're not a writer. So the process I follow and this methodology is very broken down into step-by-step pieces, which is choose a really good keyword that is a popular topic that people are searching for on Amazon. So broad enough, there's lots of interest. And then we need to get a little bit more specific so we can be competitive in that broader area. Secondly, we hire a ghostwriter. So they would do a 30,000 word, really high quality book. They'll have references if it's got any sort of research they've done, you know, scientific papers or other stuff in the media that might be relevant. And they produce that book in a matter of weeks for $1,000 or so. And it turns in, it's proofread, it's formatted, it's ready to upload. I outsource the cover design and I use somebody online, $20 to $50. And it's as good as the best of an airport bestseller. You know, it's bookshop, airport bookshelves quality. These aren't great pieces of literary fiction. They're not the next great American novel. They're just little simple how-to or interest-specific books, non-fiction, written by an expert researcher who writes well, researches thoroughly, and produces great writing. It's amazing how many people are out there and how little they charge for how quality and, you know, big these pieces of work are. They turn in a few weeks later. And so that's sort of the big bulk of the work at the front end, producing this book as a one-off. And then once you upload it to Amazon, which is just like adding an attachment to an email, basically, you just click the paperclip, upload your PDF and your Word document. And then Amazon does all the delivering of that book to the customers from that point onwards. So they'll beam it off to the iPhone Kindle app or the Kindle device. If it's a paperback, they'll print it on demand and deliver it to the customer's doorstep with their very organized delivery services. So you don't need to handle books. You don't need to do a print run of any books. You don't need an editor to approve your books, which is really cool. You're just basically doing your research on what the market wants to buy. And then Amazon also owns Audible. So if you want to do your book as an audiobook as well, it's a third source of income. So from one book, you can sell it as an ebook, a paperback, and an audiobook. And you only need to produce it once. Amazon will sell that book for months and years, forevermore. And you don't have that upfront cost ever again. So it's straight profit, apart from Amazon's commission. So their fees are around 30%. So for a $10 book, $3 to Amazon, $7 to me, again and again and again for every time I sell that $7 book.
I think people that have ever sold physical products, and I know that's not everyone that's watching this, but if you've ever sold physical products, you'll realize, man, I've often got to ship off 2,000 of an item, let's say 2,000 of those chopping blocks or something, over to Amazon. And then you've still got to pay extra for inventory if you hold it too long, if it doesn't all sell out, and then you've got to top it up again. imagine if instead of that $3,000 or whatever it costed you to send, no, probably more for chopping blocks. If it was 2,000 chopping blocks, it might cost you $20,000 to send it. Instead of spending that, you've spent 1,000, maybe 1,300 by the time you've done all the other bits and pieces. Imagine 1,300 and it's all done forever. Like as in even if 10,000 of that book gets ordered, you still have already paid. It's done.
And you never run out of stock. When I was I still think products are great and I still sell products on Amazon, but you know, there's so many things to juggle. The cash flow is sort of skewed towards outgoings at the beginning, but then if you run out of stock, you miss out on sales, or if there's a spike in demand because your product's done so well, you're a victim of your own success and then you can't restock fast enough. So there's a lot more moving parts with a physical brand, and these ebooks are, you know, a tenth, if not 1% of the work and the stress.
You may end up, if you're a physical product seller, you could end up expanding your range anyway. Like what if you were selling a dog training book, but you already currently sell dog collars, dog food bowls? You could still put those and link to them inside your book. In fact, even if you don't have those, you could just put an affiliate link to someone else's in your book, right? So there's multiple ways. And I love what you said about Audible and the physical. It's not just Kindle, isn't just on Kindle devices. People actually read them off their phone or they listen to them. Lots of things. So how much extra does that add though to a book sales? Like let's say normally off Kindle, let's say one book makes, I'm just going to make up a number, let's say it made $20 a week from that one book. How much extra is made from, let's say it's now on Audible and on physical?
I have a rule of thumb, it's usually at least half as much again to add Audible. So my audiobooks are generally really good performers. There's some subjects don't really suit an audiobook, so people don't listen to a gardening audiobook or a cookery or anything with lots of maths or diagrams. So, but something like a biography, possibly the audiobook would be the bestseller.
Yeah, the outsell, yeah.
The self-help stuff, brilliant. So my number one audiobook is all about what are they called? Affirmations. So it's like so many hundred affirmations for women or something like that. And I didn't write them. I found a ghostwriter who specializes in that stuff. She did a really good job. So we sell the ebook, the audiobook, and the paperback. But for that one, the audiobook's a winner. Whereas for something like calligraphy, people want a printed hard copy because they're actually practicing their calligraphy. And like you mentioned before, something like a calligraphy book, you can add a link to a calligraphy set. And it might not be my calligraphy pen and block of paper that reader needs, but they'll buy it. So you might as well recommend a good one and collect a little bit of commission from that referral that you provide the reader, because they're looking to implement, not just learn.
Yeah, the one thing that I've done, and I don't have a lot of books yet on Kindle, but one thing I've done is I've also quite often given away a free gift that gets people on a mailing list. And that's another thing you can do if you want to, if your main authority of what you do is on another, if you have your own website, you can still send people there if you want to. So you can grow your authority in a niche if you feel like it. You can be an affiliate. You can do none of those and just take the royalties. There's just so many opportunities, I guess, for back-ending a book. And now, you wouldn't have started out instantly going, you know what, I want to have hundreds of books on Amazon and I'm going to invest X thousands of dollars. You would have started with a single book or a couple of books, right? So do you mind just explaining to people that cycle of reinvestment, how you end up getting to hundreds of books without necessarily starting with any more than maybe one book?
Yeah, sometimes I do surprise myself because mine has grown really fast. And what I've done was firstly broken down the steps to produce the first book, which was by far the hardest because it was the most unfamiliar. But each little step of that actually wasn't even that hard. There's the book topic research, the outsourcing to the writer, getting my head around the fact it's not going to have my name on and I didn't write it, but yet I'm still selling it. That's just fine. And then launching that book on Amazon and then seeing a few dollars come through. That was very exciting. It wasn't a fluke. It actually worked. And then each month that book keeps on performing. But then I get the next book going and the process the second time around is a lot easier. I move a bit faster. I know the ghostwriter's rates and that I liked their work last time, and we kick it off again. And suddenly there's this little flywheel spinning, churning out books, and the profits from the first ones can fund the subsequent books. And suddenly, 3 years later, I'm tens of thousands of dollars profit each month, while still producing good quality ebooks. And I haven't run out of topics, and I don't see any shortage of topics because there's so many subjects out there. Firstly, the whole ebook market's expanding. There's more demand for all sorts of ebooks, audiobooks and paperbacks. But within each topic, there's so many variations on a theme. It might be for a different demographic, for teenagers or for adults or for over 60s or for vegans or for people with ADHD or for beginners or for advanced tips on something. So there's a whole range. There's theoretical versus really practical. So within each sort of high-level subject like parenting, there's so many mid-tier topics that are full of profitable book ideas. So once you know what to do, you just get hooked and just keep churning them out.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a big difference between how to get a baby to sleep versus how to get kids to sleep versus dealing with, I don't know, behavioral problems in children versus...
Boys versus girls.
Yeah, versus all sorts of things like introducing a new child into the family or other things, dealing with living in two homes.
Yep.
There's a lot of different topic ideas. Homeschooling, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, getting on with siblings, just some topics I'm dealing with this week.
No, I know what that's all about, absolutely. So, but you've expanded beyond that. Like you say, okay, $1,000 to get a book written, but you quite often then spend, say, $300, and it's now that exact same book, all that work you put into it, and now it's in Italian.
Yeah.
And now spend another $300, and now it's in French.
Yeah.
And you've now got another big market. And am I right in saying that sometimes the foreign language version outsells the English version anyway, even if it's supposedly a smaller market because you are bigger in that smaller market?
I like being a big fish in a small pond. So I've actually got the #1 book on dog training in Italian, and the whole of Amazon Italy, that #1 book is mine, with not my name on. I can't remember what it's called, some Italian name. But it started off in English, and it did okay in the US market. But according to my research, there was unmet demand for that topic in Italian, and off we went, and it's up and selling really well. So the process there, again, it's all outsourced. I don't speak Italian. So take the English version, go to a freelancer online who specializes in this stuff. They do the translation, we upload it, off it goes. So very little incremental effort to really start scaling out all the potential income streams. And it's been really worthwhile doing. It's not always Italian. So Spanish, there's a lot of Spanish speakers in the United States, everyone from Mexico and all those Hispanic countries. Lots and lots of native Spanish speakers. Amazon has France, Italy, Germany, Spain. So you can even do Japanese. I haven't done Japanese, but
And listing in all of those Amazon places, unlike with physical products where you might have to say ship to Amazon Germany or ship to Amazon Australia or something, you only list it once. They automatically put it available in all the places that you want to put in your checkbox is available, right?
You just tick a box, you want it available in all those markets. The only funny thing is in my Brazil sales, Brazil can't pay New Zealand bank accounts, so I get a check from Brazil once a month, which I've never checked, never cashed, because it's the only check I've ever seen. Don't do checks anymore, but just that one little anomaly for Brazil. But yeah, I keep getting these all-star bonuses from Amazon India at the moment. Publish some books on Amazon India that nobody else is doing.
That's a good idea. A lot of people speak English there as their second language, and they don't find enough books in their local dialect.
Yeah. And they've got, that's actually just in English, though, my Amazon India ones. Yeah. So lots of business books and seem to be selling well in India. And then, I've stuck to a few general niches. So I try and do books I'm a bit interested in myself. And I like to do something I feel like I can do a really quality job and really help the reader. So parenting and things I've got some first-hand experience of.
Easier for you to critique, I guess, when you get the book back as well, if you want to ask for revisions.
Yeah. So I actually have a process where I don't even do my own proofreading, and the writers I use, a really good quality service. So I just set and forget. Basically, they do all the formatting, they do all the proofing, they put all the references in, so I know that the content's quality, and I just hit the upload button. But it's a really nice feeling because the readers let you know if there's any issues in the reviews, but I have really, really good reviews for all the books that I produce. And so this system is very boring, really, because it's the same each time, apart from the thrill of finding a new profitable keyword, which there's no shortage of. It's then a very mechanical business. There's the writing of the outline, which is basically your chapter headings that you're going to give to the ghostwriter, hiring the ghostwriter again, There's sort of a fixed rate card for what you should pay them. There's a pretty set expectation of turnaround time. Set your calendar reminder for when the book's due back. And then when it comes in, you press the upload button and set the price. So I keep the price pretty low when I launch because I really want some good reviews when it first goes live. And in my community, we've got a way of helping each other get reviews when that book first goes live.
I was going to ask you about that. You've got some secret source stuff, and I know that a lot of that's going to be revealed on the upcoming workshop, so I won't get you to give it all away here, but would you mind just expanding just a little bit about that you do have a community that helps get reviews, but it's not done in a way where people are, say, bribed or whatever to give a fake review or something. They're literally like are checking out the product, they are reviewing it, and it works really well, and that's part of the reason why your students, I guess, do so well and they've got some competitive advantages with you.
Yeah, that's right. So Amazon wants to promote books to potential readers that are selling well and also have good reviews. So part of their algorithm is what's already selling, what are people downloading when they've searched for a keyword, and then once it's been read, what do these readers say about it? So it's really advantageous to have a flurry of downloads and a flurry of good reviews when your book goes live, and then more organic search traffic's going to come across it thanks to Amazon. So you've got to be very careful, though. Amazon does not want people buying dodgy fake reviews, and we want our community to be following best practice and producing high quality books. So we reckon we can put these things together. We've got lots of keen readers, we've got lots of keen people who are great at writing these high quality books, and as they go live, we've got a community where there's no exchanges of cash or payment or anything like that. Just a nice, friendly community where when your book goes live, there's some other like-minded people there who can help read and review it and give you feedback and leave a review on Amazon. So it's also nice because we see the pace that the community is publishing books at every day when I open Facebook, and it's about the only thing I use Facebook for. You can see all the new uploads of members of the community who've published their book. They've done all that work. They're really excited it's gone live. And then a bunch of people jump on and say, great, that's really of interest to me. I'll download it. And then the review pops up a few days later. So it's a great head start in this game where it's going to happen anyway if you've got a good quality book, but it's a great jump start.
Yeah, because I've seen what it's like also. Like, it's a bit scary when you release a book that if you get one review and it's really low, but it's only one review, but the average person's flicking through and they see this 1 star, you could be really unlucky. It could have been that 1 in 100 people is going to give you a 1 star, and you just got that as the first review. Yeah. So it's kind of handy knowing that straight away you can get some reviews from just genuine people that are, there to give you some honest feedback and or get some reviews going.
Yeah, definitely, it's very, very helpful.
Yeah, and in saying that, I don't want people to panic about those sort of things, because those sort of things, like, they work out well when you produce good content, and that's the focus of this whole thing. It's not a scheme, it's a business model, and as a business model, you're thinking about the customers quite a lot in the way that you approach it, and I think that's one of the things that sets your model apart from other people that attempt to teach Kindle online and stuff like that. They're always looking for the shortcut. They're not always customer focused. They're almost like looking at that margin and thinking high margins. Yeah. But you're thinking, I keep delivering value. Yeah. We keep getting more readers. Yeah. Those readers buy more from that same author, let alone just leaving a good review, and goes from there. What else do you think sets you apart, I guess, from other people that try to build a good model on Kindle? Not necessarily just what you teach your students, but just as a way of going about it.
I think a real focus on getting moving quickly when you start is important, because every new business sounds a bit daunting until you get started. And a lot of courses you can sit and watch training videos and sit on the sidelines and hang back and wait till you've got the perfect book idea, which might be 3 years down the track, and it sits in the top drawer and never gets published. So what I'm really hot on for my students is we get cracking. You get a book that's 80% good, it's good enough. You can always update with edits or changes later. I mean, you don't want typos or a low quality book, but it doesn't need to be perfect. You're not trying to write the world's best ever book on dog training. You're writing one with a great cover design, with a great title, with all the right keywords in. In that first book, you're learning the steps of the process and getting really confident with demystifying what this crazy adventure and flight path is ahead. So once you've done one book quickly, and we really push you to get into that quickly, you'll have learnt the ropes, you'll have seen some sales come in, and then you'll just feel so much more confident. And then the next one is easier, you know the process, and you get to focus really on the strategy of your book topics and where your pen name is going to take you on that niche or that subject. And then it's really easy to scale. So I love it when people are taking action, and we've got lots of live time together to really encourage that.
And I love what you say about how you can always edit. Unlike, say, if I was to order, I don't know, 1,000 chopping blocks, I'll use the same example as before, send them off to Amazon, and there's some sort of warped thing going on with the chopping blocks, and I'd have to recall them all and send a new lot over.
Nightmare.
Let's say someone bought a dog training book and they say, I was disappointed because my dog bolts out the front door and there was nothing covered on that. You could go, oh, I'll add an extra 4 pages on that. Bam, it gets added in. No one ever makes that comment ever again.
On the front cover, a little badge now with new updated chapter on for bolting dogs.
There you go. Yeah,
Well, yeah. Quite that, but you can update for 2023 marketing strategies or 2024 latest of Pinterest or whatever.
Yeah, so it's not like it's fixed. You've just now minted it as this can never change. It's not like this is all in all the stores around the world. Print. It can change. You get some feedback that you think, oh, I wish I had done that. Well, you can do that. Easy.
Yeah.
And obviously, you can't please everybody anyway. So take that with a grain of salt. But
now keep clear of some topics. I never want to, even if I could find a quality writer with a medical background, I don't want to do any books on medical stuff. I don't want to be curing cancer with this one simple hack type book. That's not me.
Yeah, fair enough too.
And no investment stuff. I don't want to have people spend their life savings on a strategy that may or not might be a good strategy, but not for them. I keep clear of those sorts of grubby topics. So pretty much those are the big ones I keep clear from. But things like self-help are good as long as you've got a quality writer. So I'll not go too woo-woo and alternative, but well-proven practices for dealing with anxiety. That sort of thing's fine. But I stick to things I'm comfortable with that I would buy and read myself. Just good common sense topics that suit a book format, and I know that it's going to be an enduring topic that people are always going to be interested in. Parenting, relationships, pets, those sorts of things. Hobbies are good.
And there are just so many thousands of these niches out there. And then you've got across different languages. And then even if there are another bunch of people writing books on your topic, that doesn't mean that you can't dominate it anyway, because you've got strategies for pushing up and up and up and getting into that top tier of the rankings anyway. Plus, not to mention what a lot of people don't do, but you do, is you're willing to buy some paid traffic through Amazon's paid anyway to give things a boost. And you were saying before it's like the highest margin form of traffic that you've found.
Yeah. So when I launched the books, I basically already researched what the relevant keywords are going to be. So I make sure I set some paid Amazon ads running on those keywords. And that seems to be about the only thing you need to do to get these books selling. So it's very targeted and relevant, the search and the budget for the ad spend. These books convert really well. And the nice thing is there's nothing else to do. So you could muck around on 50 social media platforms, or you don't even have their email addresses. So there's nothing you can send to potential readers. So it's all just about that on Amazon, on-page experience. And they've only ever gone to Amazon to buy a book. They're not there being social. So one thing, just coming into the ebook world with an Amazon products background, you asked me before what's different about my course. I think I'm the only person teaching ebooks who's got an Amazon products background. And that, my goodness, is hardcore marketers, people with massive lists, with all the dodgiest tactics you can imagine, taking down new successful listings, new sellers, existing sellers. It's really cutthroat on that side of the game. And the book world is so innocent and naive. There's just nothing hard or tricky about launching and getting a book ranking. It's just much more straightforward. You see on the product side, people turn up and overnight they've got 5,000 reviews and they've got, great big lists that they've marketed to and rebate schemes going, and Amazon's just playing cat and mouse with all the really tricky tactics that are in breach of their terms.
It's not saying it doesn't work. It definitely works. People make great money doing it. I know some people are doing very well, but it is more cutthroat. There's definitely more moving parts to it.
Yeah. So when I sold products on Amazon, I saw that stuff going on, never obviously partook in any of it. But, I did really well with products. I know people doing really, really well with physical products. My point is just the ebook game has none of those sorts of people in it. They're all, quite well-meaning, people that want to write a book on something they're really passionate about, and they don't really know how to market it on Amazon, and they try and do the cover themselves on Canva. And, we just do it a bit more professionally than them and tap into a market by looking really polished and presenting a really great looking book.
And okay, so you've covered like a lot of ground here, and I know that there's a heck of a lot more that you show on camera, like people can actually see a bit more stuff on the workshop. And we're going to be running a workshop with Sophie very, very shortly. You'll probably see it either the link in the description below or straight below this video as a link. Would you mind just telling people some reasons why it's a good idea to jump on this workshop? Like, who is it for and who is it not for?
Okay, so in the workshop, what I'll do is do a little bit more of an over-the-shoulder view of what it's like to have one of these Kindle businesses. What are the steps and how do you go about it? And so it's for you, I guess, if you're thinking about a new way to earn an income stream that's not tricky or technical or stressful, that has really nice high profit margins, that's something that's really scalable and something that you can learn pretty quickly and easily. Of all the things I've ever done online, this ebook thing is by far the simplest and fastest and by miles the most profitable and very, very simple. So I just like the ease of it. I don't think I've ever had a single stressful day with an ebook business. It's just easy. And that's very refreshing. So if you're interested in that type of online business opportunity, you don't need to be an author. You don't need to have any background in publishing. You don't need to write a word of these things yourself. It's just learning a step-by-step process. And I can show you a bunch of the steps on this free training.
Cool. And would you say that this model is also good if people did want to write it themselves?
Yes. So I do always have people asking that. And I think if you've got the subject matter expertise and you're really passionate, it's on a lot of people's bucket list to write a book. And I understand that because I'd quite like to write my own one day too. So I totally understand why you would want to. I can definitely teach the bits that sandwich either side of you researching how to prepare your book for the market and how to polish it and, have it sell well with the marketing on the Amazon ads at the end. The ghostwriting service is so cheap and so good, it's sort of hard to walk away from once you've experienced it. But if you, as a personal passion project, want to write a book, sure, I can help you produce a really high quality sort of outline, the format and everything you need to know. And then it's up to you to put your own words in it, of course. But it's a very fulfilling thing. It's nice to see a book in print. It's a really feel-good product to sell. People are spending, $3 on an ebook. They often buy a bunch of them too, so you can actually do more than one book on any one subject, and often somebody buying one book on that hobby will buy 3 or 4 others.
It's something that people underestimate. Some people buy 30 books on a topic, especially when they're $3 each. They don't know which one. If your one is number 15 in the list, it doesn't have to be number 3 or something, and they've just bought them all anyway.
Yeah, Amazon's pretty good. People that bought this also bought that, and you can catch that wave as well. So it's really good.
Yeah. Okay. So what about who's it not for though? Who should probably say, you know what, this probably isn't for you?
Oh, that's a hard one. I think it would be the same barrier as for anyone starting any business. And to be honest, not everybody should run their own business. Some people really like being told what to do every day, really like the structure of a 9-to-5 job, the camaraderie of the office politics, whatever it is, But if you've got any inkling towards having your own business, this is something nice because you can scale it up and go really ambitious and build an empire if you want. You can start really, really small and keep it really tight and just do one book at a time and just, slowly budget for those individual books as they pop out and then reinvest some funds. But the only people it wouldn't be for are those who just don't actually want to press go on starting something for themselves. There's no technical steps. That's not a barrier. It's not techie at all.
And unlike, I guess, a model that takes, say, an hour a day, which a lot of businesses do, because your model involves getting other people to do all the work for you, it doesn't even involve that. Maybe in the very first steps while you're learning the thing, but eventually it's more about just every now and then you get handed something, now do the next step, and back and forth. It's quite low time investment. Yeah,
very low time investment per book, very passive once it's up and running. Well, I guess I forgot to say, the people it wouldn't be suited to are people who want $1 million next week. It's not an overnight mega scaling.
It's not a loophole or something.
No, it's real. There's a production cycle. You replicate that production cycle. You compound the results of those outputs that you're selling on the market. There's no ongoing cost, there's really healthy margins. But I can't quite do the maths in my head. But if you wanted $1 million next month, you'd be up for something I couldn't teach you. So that's who it's not for.
I get this. It's genuine business opportunity that is at the moment probably at one of the best stages in the history of the internet to get going at it. The number of readers on Kindle, number of listeners on Audible, and the number of people just getting books online rather than in bookstores now is at like such a high point. It's just like gone like that, and there's just not enough to satisfy the demand. So it's a really good opportunity to take a look at. So I highly recommend that you join us for the workshop. There's going to be a lot of over-the-shoulder, step-by-step stuff covered. You'll see just how simple and straightforward this model is and whether or not it's for you. So anyway, thanks so much for flying out here for this. I really appreciate your time. And for everyone watching, take action with what you learn, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now, everybody.